strategy on tomorrow night?
Right. I think anytime you have, a team, and I guess we can say we have it to a degree, but they play a couple different ways, obviously, when they have both their bigs in versus when Luke Goody plays the four. So, I think that's what jumps out more than anything. It's just making sure you're prepared, to how they play the game, with two different lineups during the course of the game. No matter who starts, at some point they'll have both bigs in. At some point they'll have him in, playing the four. And that normally ends up being Ballo unless there's foul trouble. But you really don't know because, Malik's coming back from his injury. So he hasn't yet got the minutes that he had before because they're trying to wean him back in. But I think you saw a pretty good sample size of the finish of the game. He had struggled shooting up to that point, but then he played pretty well and made some plays down the stretch there. So I think that's what jumps out, more than anything. And then their guards' ability. You got to kind of look at each guard and grab their best game and then collectively say, what if they all had their best game at the same time? Like Mabako has shot the ball a lot better here the last two games, like we've all seen through the years, Trey Galloway, and how good of a player he is. Last year when Washington State played Stanford, Carlisle had 31 and Rice had 35 in the same game. And so I think that kind of jumps out at you as a coach when you look at it and you're saying, well, they haven't quite, been able to get it going. Well, it's hard. It's hard when you adjust and your five's a good player, your four's a good player, your three's a good player, they have the other good guards. It's hard to blend, and that's what we have to look at is all those guys having their best game at the same time. And I always say this is not Indiana. I always say that. I said expect everybody to be at their best and prepare for everybody at their best, and it just keeps you honest. Even though like a guy doesn't shoot threes very much or whatever, just don't hand him a three. Just don't give him a three. Now if you have to help and stop and do things else and he gets one, then just organically that's cool. But that's the way we look at it. We look at that, however we play every team. But I think for them, it even holds more true because we've all seen, we played Ballo at Arizona, so we've seen Ballo dominate a game. We've seen Malik Renew dominate a game. We've seen Mabako go off for 25. I just mentioned two guys, that scored 30 in the same game. So, I can go on and on, right? So I think that's first and foremost for us is we have to give them our best crack, but we have to also walk into it thinking that we're going to get theirs also. It helps defensively, especially, when you're mixed, you have the matchups and you're mixing things up, and those guys and their ability to kind of guard different guys, but they don't have that elite size. And I think more than anything is being able to guard and play against elite size and try to play to your strengths and not get into wrestling matches, because normally in those wrestling matches you're going to lose when you're giving up 3-4 inches and 30 pounds. But those guys are tough covers. Ballo was a tough cover for us when we played him in Arizona. We've obviously played Malik multiple times here at Indiana, and he's a really good player. But they got more players than just those two guys. They have a lot of really good players.
Just the ball pressure you got from CJ, Jakari, Miles against Michigan. Do you expect that on an every game basis now, or is that a matchup type of?
No, we need to do a good job guarding the ball. I think when we've done that in the start of the season, we had blow-bys. So we'd go get people and we'd pressure them, they just go by us. And now we've done a much better job of being able to guard the ball in the open court, but also contain the ball in the open court. But we also, we have to be able to respect the athleticism, the quickness of Rice, Galloway getting downhill, Carlisle, all their pieces there. You still got to go the next game and be able to do the same thing. And maybe it affects them, maybe it doesn't. But, that's ultimately what we want to do.
With IU's propensity to play two bigs, is there some similarities between the way you attacked Michigan's two bigs and how you want to?
Yeah, well, offensively it's different, right? Because Danny Wolf handles the basketball. That was so unique, right? You don't see that a lot. But just trying to keep both of those guys off the glass more than anything. You work hard to stay out of rotations, and you get into rotations and then you have to box out Renault or Ballo. they're normally going to get it. They've proven that. So you got to be able to stay out of those rotations so you keep that rebound responsibility. You go, now when you got to help as a big, you got to guard cracking and like, it just doesn't work. It's like the mouse and the elephant, right? And that piece right there for us has got to be important. And it kind of led to Brian's question is, if you can't contain the dribble, now you got to help. And now if shot goes up while you're in help, now you got littles on bigs. And you normally end up fouling. You give up on offensive rebounds and fouling. So I think that's going to be important for us. And we got to play in transition. Our numbers from transition has been good, but if we can cause turnovers or we can get defensive rebounds, you can get in transition. Well, if you can't cause turnovers and you can't get a rebound, it's going to eliminate your transition opportunities.